about your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of The Mediator with me, your host, Brian West, here to give you the top 8 headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. Now, as usual, I'll give you the top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that made it first, followed by a movie clip, a skit, a trailer, or something that's going on in the community, or maybe some pictures. And then I'll give you the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories that made it this week, folks. So let's waste no time. Oh, yeah. Let's get to it. Story number 1, Lordstown Motors is still in the race. Lordstown Motors Corp has revved up production on its battery-powered endurance truck again after a brief pause to work out some supplier parts performance issues that caused recall notices. Now, this is according to a Vindicator report published April 19th, thus showing that the company is getting back to normal. Now, at the moment, the company is operating at a low pace as stocks remain steady. That's why story number 1 made it this week. Story number 2, Austintown regroups. The talk in Austintown is how to raise funds for stormwater projects. Austintown residents will have a town hall meeting April 26th at Fitch High School at 6 p.m. to discuss a potential fee. Now, this story is still developing. That's why I made it this week. Story number 3, the French Coast story goes federal. Wow. Now, whatever is going on in Trumbull County, Nikki Frenchco has gained the attention of a lot of people in the region, in Ohio. She filed a federal lawsuit against Sheriff Paul Monroe, County Commissioner. She also filed another lawsuit against County Commissioner Mauro Cantalamessa and others after she was arrested during a county commissioner's meeting, July 7th of 2022. Now, Attorney David Beatrice has stated that the goal of the lawsuit is to rein in the unconstitutional acts of the county commissioner, I guess, in the office that they're holding, the offices that they're holding. Now, the article goes on to explain Frenchco's grievances about how this inmate did not receive proper care. Now, according to the report, this is the spark that lit the fire in this still ongoing story. Some people say Nikki Frenchco just lost her mind, but others are saying she does have the right to defend herself. Now, Frenchco claims that the arrest was a setup. Now, that's why story number 3 made in this week. Story number 4, swarming around ARP money. Wow, almost $1 million. That's $996,500 is the spending amount for improving sidewalks in 5 of the 7 wards in Youngstown. $82,000 will be used for the 1st ward, $250,000 will be used for the 2nd ward and 7th ward, $114,500 for the 5th ward, and $300,000 for the 6th ward. Now, the article published April 15th goes on to mention how sidewalk replacements are residential responsibility, but there's a but. Many residents cannot afford to replace their sidewalks, so thus showing that people are trying to spread this some more of that ARP money. That's why story number 4 made it this week. Big. Story number 5, how will the next election turn out for Youngstown council members? If you did not know, all of Youngstown's city council members are seeking re-election this year, and only 3 face challenges in the May 2nd Democratic primary, according to a local report published April 16th by David Skolnick. Now, the pressure has been on Youngstown officials to enforce a stronger and better community. Each council member and candidate has some great ideas, if you want to be a little bit put a little bit more emphasis on it, but the thing is that they will need money to enforce these strong and good ideas if elected or re-elected. That goes on both sides. Now, this story is still developing because people are trying to give their ideas to the people so they could see some movement, but they will need some resources and money. That's why story number 5 made it this week. Big head. Story number 6, pushback on school levy in Youngstown. The school levy in Youngstown. Youngstown has removed a big renewal levy from the May 2nd primary ballot, according to a report published April 16th by Ed Runyon. Now, the plan was to ask for renewal of the levy, which is for emergency requirements to raise $291,510. So that's $5,291,510 annually. That's how much they were going to raise with this. They want to raise with this levy. But according to the report, the cost to put it on the ballot played a role in the pushback. The cost would have been $2,700 per precinct. Now, it would have costed a total of $80,000. Now, the plan now is to wait for the general election in November. The current levy expires in December with final collections in 2024. That's why story number 6 almost made it to the top 2 this week, because Youngstown City Schools, just like all city schools, are having to make a lot of budget adjustments, and they need that tax levy, so they will be soliciting. That's why story number 6 made it this week. Big story number 7 and the top 2 local headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. Whew, I hope I am getting this right. I hope I'm checking these stories twice, doing my notes, looking at my notepads, my memos, and on top of that, looking at the main idea of the story. So let's see if I can get to these top 2. Ooh, yeah. Woo! Don't you feel the excitement? Yeah. Yeah. Story number 7. Competence in city governing body is in question. Competence. Yeah. There are residents who do not have access to local reporters questioning the competence of city officials. So that means that there are residents who want to know more about their city officials. They want to know if they're competent enough to serve, but without the resources to prove it, sometimes this stuff happens, and sometimes the residents who vote for these people are not competent enough to vote for competent officials. So who knows how this works, but it works out somehow. Now, after a number of raw deals, including the following: the Chill Can plant, the water department project spending at the water department, the 20 federal building deal, remember that one, education spending, and ARP spending. All of these decisions have caught the attention of some local city residents, questioning the competence of city's officials' ability to make the right deals and make the right decisions. The story made it to the top 2 because it's still developing, because some of these people, citizens, say that wait a minute, now we're paying taxes, and these people aren't listening to our grievances, but they're spending our money, and they're getting federal aid money, but they're not doing anything with it that is going to be beneficial, and there's a lot of mistakes being made. That's why story number 7 always made to the top this week. Big headline. If competence is the issue, we will find out. Big headline. Story number 8 and the top local headline and developing news story that made it this week. For you. It's all for you. I'm sacrificing my time, my weekdays, my weekends to keep you informed. That is a good deal, and that is a good servant. Somebody who willingly gives his time hanging out at the paper stores and looking at the front page. Oh, there's something magical about it. Story number 8. Yes. Another devastating blow for Youngstown. Uh-oh. Bad news. Youngstown is in yet another difficult crime position after Councilwoman Anita Davis spoke openly about the death of a 15-year-old girl. The child was a student at Valley Christian and was just attending a party, according to a report published by the Mediator on the 18th of April. She was not an intended target. She was hit by a stray bullet, according to Youngstown's Detective Division. Now, this story is yet another hard swallow for a city trying to create a better future and image for residents in the city. That's why the story made it, folks. Well, those are top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. I'll be right back with top 8 international headlines and developing news stories. So don't you go anywhere. You're in the Mediator, me, Brian West. I'll be right back.
YouTube channel. You can also watch free public entertainment. And don't forget to show some support by visiting www.method8inc.com by buying something, clicking something, watching something, or just reading something. You can also sponsor a program as well. That's www.method8inc.com. Buy stuff, watch stuff, or read stuff.
What does Method8inc.com Media Center have that I need?
Small prints, event consulting, photography, business consulting, technical consulting, entertainment consulting, fundraising advice, event videography, movies, news, publishing, media, books, entertainment, acting, broadcasting, public relations, access to the visual and performing arts, ink and black ink refills, audio recording, graphic design, theater, minor computer and cell phone repair, and they're located at 5648 Market Street in Boardman, Ohio from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. every Monday through Friday. The list goes on and on.
Method8inc.com. Buy stuff, watch stuff, or read stuff.
Oh yeah! And yes, we are chipmunks.
I'm gonna schedule you back in about a week, alright? Put you on 10 milligrams. If you need any refills, you gotta let me know, alright?
I didn't become a doctor to drug people.
Give up on your dream, John. You cannot cure crazy.
He's one of my patients.
No, patience! Well, tell him to stop coming here and robbing me!
Are you married? I see your ring. Yeah.
But all I know is I need you and you will need me.
Why don't you have your wedding photos up?
Well, I have my reasons for that.
No! You don't know anything about my patients, Kathy! You don't know anything about what these kids, these parents are going through out here. There's a jungle out here, Kathy! So stay in your lane!
I don't have a chemical imbalance. I just want to go home.
Together, we can make magic.
Please don't leave me this way!
I'll need therapy after this! Who will check and see if I'm okay?
Hey, Doc. Don't let me down. Because those meds, they're working.
Welcome back. Now it's time to get to the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories that made this week, folks. I have to admit, when I first started this show, it was a rough little start. People probably tuned in. Oh, Susan, here goes another black Jesus. And after a while, they probably like, oh, this guy's staying on the air. Oh, maybe I will start getting informed, Susan. Yeah. And that's the American dream, folks. That's the ability to stay informed. You start off a little rough with your paper. You have to comprehend the stories. And after a while, you start soaking it in. You say, wait a minute. It's not a bad idea. Top 8 stories. On top of that, you get to stay informed. It's basic, to the point, and it's raw with one angle. That's a good deal. And you don't have to pay for it. It's on the channel. If you want to volunteer and give your time and give your money, it's there. Ooh, that's a good deal. Hallelujah. Let's get to it. Story number 1. Now evaluating. Here we go, another strange deal. Evaluating Biden's time in office. That's Joe, if you're nasty, a nasty Democrat. Joe, if you're nasty. There are several questions that emerge in Biden's presidency. How are we going to get through this economically, and how are we doing economically as a country? How are we doing in the global arena? Is the next generation financially secure? Is the country collectively moving in the right direction? Is the country on a sound medical and educational platform? And lastly, how is the infrastructure? These are all of the questions putting a dagger in Biden's approval rating, because we're not doing so well right now. Now, analysts on the right feel that Biden is falling down and failing on all fronts. The story, folks, is still developing. That's why story number 1 made it this week. Story number 2. The education issue remains in top headlines. Florida students made headlines in a protest against education restrictions that I guess the talk now is about an anti-LGBTQ issue. These issues that they're putting in front of little children and trying to indoctrinate people at an early age. Let's talk about all this nastiness. Nasty. Ooh, it's nasty. But that's what people want to talk. People are nasty. Nasty America. It's nasty. Special interest groups, special interest period issues, these issues, that's how nasty it is. It distracts me. We all nasty, but I don't want everybody to know we're all nasty. Now, these special interest groups continue to distract Americans from a lot of more very, very important issues that are around, thus keeping special interest stories in top headlines. That's why story number 2 made it this week. Big headline. Story number 3. China's economy compared to U.S.'s economy, America's economy, after the pandemic measures have been lifted. So comparing these two economies after the pandemic measures have been lifted. Here we go. BBC reports that China's economy has rebounded after their pandemic measures were lifted compared to America, who is still having a slow recovery. Now, gross domestic product in the country grew 4.5%. Household spending and factory activity also increased in China. Now, output from the country's factories rose by 3.9%. This is all according to the data. Now, all of this data shows that America has a lot of catching up to do to get back in the game. Now, market watchers will be keeping an eye on this story, because still somebody is to blame for what COVID did, and right now it's getting all over the place. It's getting out of control. That's why story number 3 made it this week. Story number 4. Data is showing a downward swing in the U.S. economy. Weak retail sales and slow manufacturing targets. This is all as the data shows that Americans are cutting back on spending. Reuters reports that if this keeps up, America's economy could take an even more hit, take even more hits if hiring activity continues to slow and retail sales keeps dropping. Morgan Stanley reported that the expiration of the SNAP program resulted in a $4 billion non-annualized hit to income. It's probably yearly now. This story is still developing. That's why story number 4 made it in this week. Well, folks, those are our top 4 international headlines and developing news stories that made this week. I'll be right back with the top 4. So don't you go anywhere. You're the Mediator. Me, Brian West. I'll be right back.
You've taken these people and put them in a fake reality. What are you doing?
You must guard the citizens with your life. I have a feeling that Mother Time has started a war.
The Lord of Escobar interfered.
Every elite is going straight to hell.
I think you're crazy. You've always been a little bit crazy.
Wait till after the second moon.
The imagination is our biggest weapon.
Do you know how much time you've spent with me so far?
If you want to check out the stories that almost made it in or did make it in, go to our Twitter feed on our website. Check out everything. All of the sources are there. It goes to the website. It's method8inc.com. Method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor the program. Welcome back. Welcome back. Now it's time to get to the top 4 international headlines and developing news stories that made this week, folks. Everybody has got a gun nowadays. This is getting so sad. 14-year-olds getting caught with guns. People getting caught with, and young folks getting caught in the crosshairs of gunfire. It's so bad that my Aunt Susie and I went to a bingo. I'm making this up, but we did go to bingo, you know, in my imagination. We went to bingo, and I come in there, and we decided to go to a Catholic. It was a Ukrainian Catholic fundraiser, and I low on funds, so I went to bingo with my Aunt Susie. She said, "Sit right there. I feel that seat is lucky. That seat is lucky." I said, "Okay." So I sit down, and I guess the seat was lucky, but it was lucky for the lady next to us. It was a Catholic bingo, little old Italian lady. She said, "Bingo, bingo." I said, "Oh God, damn! Would you sit down?" She won bingo, and in the process, a gun fell out of her pocket. Oh shoot! I said, "Damn, what they got this gun for?" Sheila carrying this gun in the bingo. I couldn't believe it. All the old ladies in the place looking at her, and when they saw it, everybody said, "How did she get this gun through security?" You know, I don't know. Catholics, they got all security at their bingos and everything. This is serious business to Catholic folks. When the gun fell out, all you hear was it hit the floor. Boom! She just sitting there, and she took her earnings, but she picked it up, and I went over and I asked to her. I said, "Why you got that gun? Who you afraid of?" She said, "I'm packing because everybody else is packing. Us old ladies got to stick together. We got to protect ourselves." So I backed off. Okay. And after that day, I started realizing why people are carrying guns, because they're afraid. They're afraid of everybody. They're even afraid at bingo, folks. We've got to make a change. On the battlefield, less guns and more love. Let's get to it. Story number 5. There's something happening behind the healthcare walls, folks. Millions are expected to lose dental care coverage after the end of the COVID public health emergency. This is according to some reports. Now, people are also complaining about high bills, and many are taking the alternative treatment route. Mental health is becoming another hot topic, and new treatment centers could be back in business. Recent reports show that something is taking place behind the healthcare walls. The story is still developing, and some people are saying, "The hell with these bills. I'm going to bingo." That's why it's number 5 made it this week. Big headline. Story number 6. Why are prices still so high? Vox reports that companies are purposely keeping their prices high. The article is detailed article. The article focuses on supply chain problems that have eased and how the Federal Reserve has been steadily raising interest rates, slowing job growth as a way to balance out demand. Then the article goes on to ask the question: if this is the case, then why is the inflation and high prices still a problem? So they're even having a Q&A in this article. Now, the main talking point of the piece is pointing the finger at business heads for price gouging. So now they're saying that it's the business's fault for high prices. This story is still developing. Almost made it to the top 2 this week. Big. Story number 7 and the top 2 international headlines and developing news stories that made this week. Folks, some people think that the news is a waste of time and saying it's too many bad stories, it's too depressing. But I'm here to tell you that staying informed is probably the best cure for a lot of bad decisions that we make. I try my best to stay informed. I'm not perfect, but I think that's why I do this, because I think it's important. Story number 7: have to stay informed, folks. Got to, because I mean, when you see somebody showing up to a party in a blouse and some slippers, and everybody else is in tuxedos, you're like, Oh my Lord, did that woman get the memo, or is she just showing up? Does she know that this is a black tie event? That's what happens when you're uninformed, folks. Lots of data, story number 7. Lots of data, yet not too many answers on gun violence. The everyday news is scary, folks, and the psychologist with the psychological effect is drawing more and more awareness to the data. The data shows that guns in the hands of a mentally deranged person results in some tragic stories. Now, that includes people who are mad at society and people who just want to commit crimes. Now, this is the case after 4 people were shot dead at an Alabama birthday party. There have been so many strange mass shooting stories in the headlines that analysts can't seem to keep up with the true motives of the shooters, thus making the gun solutions very hard to manage. The story is still developing. Almost made to the top this week. Big B help. Story number 8 and the top international headline and developing news story that made this week. If you feel afraid, don't shoot. If you feel scared, don't shoot. If you feel loved, spread love, but don't shoot. If you get upset with your wife and you want to go downstairs, knock out, don't shoot. Don't shoot. Get laid. Get love. Get loud. Get good. But don't shoot. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. Whew. But stay informed. Story number 8. Lots of shooting, folks. How does someone get shot pulling into a driveway? Also, how does someone get shot by just knocking on someone else's door? Either way you look at this, either the country has a quick to shoot problem or a very bad fear problem. One case involves a resident who claimed that he was intimidated by a little young black kid knocking on his door, and the other case involves a girl just pulling up into a driveway. This is sad news. Now, these stories are keeping racial profiling in the headlines and also keeping America's shoot first problems on the front page. That's why story number 8 made it to the top this week, folks, because it's changing how we think, changing how we act, changing how we feel. Well, folks, those are our top 8 local and international headlines and developing news stories that made this week. I hope you got something out of today's program. I always get something out of doing the research. As usual, I'd like to thank all the news outlets, the journalists, the people on the front lines, the media. You deserve all the credit. I'm just the media, the man in the middle, navigating your stories to keep people informed. If you want to show some support here at Method, it does not take much. All you have to do is visit the website on the screen, buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program, or just stop at the store at 5648 Market Street and buy something in the store. It evens itself out. Well, folks, I'm out here. I'll be back next week looking through over 200 or more stories to keep you informed. Have a good week, everybody. Thank you for tuning to The Mediator with me, Brian West. Peace.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.